So if you've got an idea, like a website, and you want people to come to it, there's a saying, build it and they will come, and it's a big fat lie, because they won't. So you need to pay for people initially to come and look at your site, and if it's really good, they'll tell their friends, and then you'll get some viral growth, hopefully. But you need that initial thing. So I was going to look at the different ways you can do that and how much it costs. You'll see the link to a Google, well, there's going to be a Google spreadsheet that I'd like your help filling in at some point, because this is a study, but it needs more data to make it work. So the ad media I'm going to look at very quickly are Google ads. John, I hope you don't mind. You have to correct me if I'm wrong on some of this. Ad knowledge, ads, and Facebook ads. So in digital ad pricing, we've got these three things. We're looking at prices. A Google ad, they all vary, but could cost you 30p for 1,000, could cost you £6 if you have the wrong keyword, or the right keyword, depending on how you look at it. An ad knowledge campaign might cost you, for say 1,000 users, might cost you in the region of £500 or £1,000. Depends again, it's all keyword related. And your Facebook ad, for instance, on the homepage might be, it's actually about £3.50 maybe. So what do you get for that? There's your prices. What do you get for your ad? Sorry, 2 seconds, there we go. So on my Google ad, I get 1,000 impressions. On my ad knowledge app, actually I didn't change the text there, sorry John. You're going to get 1,000 new users. And on your, I did the maths on the left and not on the right. And on your Facebook ad, you're going to get 1,000 impressions. So how do you compare that? How do you measure value for those different measurements? So for 1,000 impressions, you measure your click-through rate. And everyone goes, okay, I've got a click-through rate of 0.04. That was really cool. Brilliant. Really happy with that. On the one new app user, you get that many number of users, so 1,000 users. And on Facebook, you get clicks, fans, likes, social actions. Well, which one's better? Bueller? Okay. Well, it's difficult to tell. So in English, you might get, for click-through rate, you might get 998 people who don't look at your ad if you're looking at Google. That's brilliant. Got 998 people didn't like my ad. They didn't even look at it. That was worth paying for. Did I get 1,000 people who install my app, but then they never use it? Is that good value? Or do you get 996 people who don't click on your site, but they look at the ad? So I was thinking that those kind of the way we're measuring success doesn't work particularly well. So I was thinking about different ways that we can do that. I was going to ask you guys if you can shout out any other ones. I've given you some suggestions here.
Likes.
Brilliant, brilliant. Anyone else? Sales. Okay, good. Yeah, sales. I haven't put that on. It must have been. It's on the side. So we've got things like views, clicks, fans, time spent on site, bounce rate, sales. Is a good one. You don't often get to sales initially because your product that you're selling or the way that you monetize may be a longer term thing. So it might be difficult to do sales, but I like that. I was thinking, okay, if we think about time spent on the site, that's quite an interesting measure. So how long do you spend on a site? If you click on Google and you see a sponsored link and you click it, how long on average do you think you spend? It's an open question for the room. How long on average do you reckon you spend looking at that site on average? You click a sponsored link.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
5 seconds.
5 seconds. Lower than that. Brilliant. Okay. On a Facebook application? 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Yeah, somewhere in that region. What do you reckon? Anyone else?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Has anyone else used a Facebook?
Half an hour.
14 days. No. Yeah. So it's probably more than a minute. Probably something like that. Whatever you're thinking. So I looked into this, and from a Google paid search, the average is less than 2 minutes. And on a Facebook application, is somewhere in the region of 6 minutes per user every time they use it. That's pretty cool. So then I was thinking, okay, how can we measure something tangible? We've got all these different measures. We're comparing apples with oranges at the moment with click-through rates and installs and users. And so if we take things like your basic click-through rate and you times it by the amount of time you spend on that site, then you get to something slightly more meaty, something you can actually measure as a useful value. So I've called it engagement. Social actions on Facebook are similar. They're a type of engagement with your brand. So it's something, there's something in there that I wanted to look into. So the next thing I did was I did loads of research. And there's still loads more to do, which I think is where you guys can come in and actually contribute to that later. But I looked at loads of research, and I looked at things like risk appetite, which is where you think about if you want cost per click or you want cost per thousand. Because basically, if you think your site's amazing, then you don't want a cost per click, because you're expecting loads of people to click. And if you think that you really need help, then, so you've got a risk appetite as well. And effectively, I came up with a model. No, sorry, that's the wrong one. Came up with a model that we take £1,000 of spend and we work out what gives us the most engagement. So if you take the amount of time you spend on a site from your click-through rate and you times it through, you get a measure of those. So if I spend whatever pounds to get 1,000 impressions on a website, and of that, 2 people come to the site, and they spend 30 seconds each, my total engagement is a minute. So for whatever I spent, I got a minute on my brand. And if they go through my Facebook application, and it cost me £20 instead of £1 for the Google stuff, but I got 20 people, and they all spent 40 minutes each, then suddenly those numbers add up, and you're like, well, even though I spent more money, it seems to work out. So I'm not going to go into the detail of it right now, but you can look at it online. It's not going to be up just yet, but that link will lead you to it eventually. The average user engagement we worked out at the end of this for a Google ad is 0.1% or 0.124 seconds, which isn't very long. With your total engagement of minutes of 58,000, for £100,000, you'll get 58,000 minutes of people looking at your brand, engaging with it. And going right down the scale, I won't go through all of them, but it ends up with a Facebook application in the region of 444,000 minutes for your same £100,000 of spend. So much, much bigger. And I also looked at social actions, so things like clicks, likes, inviting friends. And you can see there's these as we change the Google spreadsheet, if you all are interested in helping with your own data, with your own experience, these bar charts will go up and down. But for now, using the research I've done initially, oops, I was going to zoom in.
What's your CPI? What's the cost per install price?
I think I chose in the region of 50p. About right?
Good guess.
So you can just see that if you spend £1,000, that's approximately the different way that you're going to see 1,000 users for a Facebook ad, 2,300 social actions on an ad knowledge campaign. And weirdly, although it's unexpected, I got 2,400 for a Facebook social ad campaign, the ones that appear on the right-hand side of the screen that no one looks at. But it seems the research seems to show it might actually be a good idea. And then finally, we looked at, so if you spend, this is the graph of the data I showed you earlier. So it basically spans out across the chart. Actually, I don't know, you can't really see that very well, can you? But effectively, Facebook application, far right, goes all the way up to the top. That's the most valuable thing you can use for marketing, whereas your Google CPC campaign is way down on the left. There's measuring total minutes of engagement with your brand for £100,000. So you spend £100,000, just to summarize, you get almost no return with a Google campaign, and with a Facebook campaign, you're looking at huge amount, 444,000 minutes.